All right, I think we're all ready to get started. Guys, thank you so much for all turning out. It's wonderful to see so many people tuning in virtually to hear about opportunities in Ireland to study abroad. Just to quickly introduce ourselves, my name is Robert Black. I am the program manager here for our study abroad programs in Dublin. And Zoe, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. I'm Zoe and I work out in Galway. So I'm based in Galway City, but I do a lot of work out of Kylemore Abbey as well. So out of the Global Centre in Connemara.
Thanks, Zoe. So today we're going to be talking about primarily our semester study abroad opportunities in Ireland, both in the fall and in the spring. We have 4 universities available for students to study at. And then we'll also be touching on some of our shorter term programs at the end of the presentation. Feel free, guys, if you guys have questions at any point, just to pop them in the chat. Our friend and colleague Sam Juarez is also on the call, and she is happy to answer any questions you might have. And we'll also take some time at the end to deal with those questions. So without any further ado, this is Notre Dame in Ireland. So as Zoe and I said, we have 2 main locations in Ireland for students to study abroad in. I'm based in the Dublin office, which is in O'Connell House, right in the center of the city. And we have a number of universities, 3 universities associated with study in Dublin. And so there's a whole team at O'Connell House, Kevin Whelan, who's the director of the program, but there's a whole team dedicated to student support and student life here in Dublin. You will live on campus at any of the universities that you go to. So you live in dormitory style accommodation. You all have your own bedrooms, and most of you will have your own bathrooms as well, which is, as a Notre Dame alum myself, a bit of a change from Notre Dame campus living. But Notre Dame students tend to live in flats together, so they would share a common space, a living space, and their own kitchen. And Zoe, do you want to talk a little bit about Kylemore?
Yeah, sure. So when you come to study abroad in Galway, as Robert said, you'll be based on the campus. So we're at the National University of Ireland, Galway, or NUIG, which is literally right smack dab in Galway city centre. So the accommodation's just there as well. However, we'll be going out to Kylemore Abbey for a few weekends. And then if you do any of the summer programs that we'll talk about later, you'll either be living at the Abbey itself, or if you're doing one in Dublin, you'll have some trips over. And Kylemore is about an hour and 20 minutes outside Galway City in Connemara. So it's nice kind of to get that dual country and city life.
Yeah, a big part of all of our programs is kind of looking at both Irelands, like the Ireland of the city of Dublin and Galway, and then the Ireland of the rural countryside. And so regardless of where you study in Ireland, if you're studying in Dublin, we do take a trip out to Kylemore once during the semester. And likewise, the Galway students do get all around Ireland as well. So we definitely try, it's a one Ireland here, and we definitely try and get all of our students to see as much of Ireland as possible while they're over studying with us. Our big part of all of our programs is the idea of learning through the soles of your feet. And so what this means for us is that we want you to be fully integrated into Irish campus life. We want you to be making Irish friends, doing projects with Irish students, but even deeper than that, kind of get a good feel for the history and the culture of the island. So both programs in Dublin and Galway have a number of program field trips that are included in the program at no extra cost to you. Some of them are weekend trips, overnights, or some of them are just day trips around, but we do try and get you to all 4 corners of our very, very green island. The big academic trips for us are, there's a trip to Belfast and Derry, where we look at the history of the Troubles, which was a sectarian conflict in the north of Ireland, which is some of which is still part of the UK today. And so we really delve into the political and personal history of that time. And then also to the west of Ireland, either to Kylemore or to County Clare, which is arguably one of the most beautiful counties in Ireland, or to Kerry, and really just get you guys stuck into the amazing landscapes, the incredible scenery, and the way of life in rural Ireland. So we do try and get people really stuck in across Ireland, and whether your vibe is a city or the country, you'll get plenty of both. In addition to trips, we have a number of service opportunities, which we'll talk about later. They vary depending on your site, but that is another piece that we do try and get people plugged into. We know Notre Dame students are very interested in getting to know their communities through service, and so that's something that we have opportunities for students who study abroad. Cultural immersion, so we'll do trips to the theater, to sporting matches. We'll have in Irish speakers to talk to you guys about education, the healthcare system, really whatever you're interested in, and know that all of us here are really interested in connecting you to whatever your passion might be. So if you're looking at medicine, law, journalism, we have an enormous amount of contacts that we would love to put you guys in touch to further your studies while you're abroad with us. We have a number of program courses through Notre Dame that we offer while you're here. So the majority of your coursework, which we'll talk a little bit about in the next couple slides, will be through your host institutions. But we do, because people are spread out across the 4 universities, each program, the one in Galway and the one in Dublin, have a mandatory course that we'll talk a little bit about. And then to supplement some maybe other core or other interests, Notre Dame interest kind of courses, the gateways and the centers themselves offer classes to supplement the Notre Dame academic experience. And the most important part of any of our programs is the Notre Dame students, you guys getting together and building a family. And so we'll have plenty of opportunities to share meals together, celebrate Mass, experience Ireland, all the rain, all the sun, all the wind, all together. And so know that part, the student part of our study abroad experience is for us, I think, the most important piece. And that's really what we're interested in getting you guys to enjoy after your academics are all squared away. So do you just want to run through the 4 universities that we have on offer?
Yeah, sure. So we've got the 4 universities. You can see photos there, very nice photos. As Robert said, it is not sunny all the time in Ireland. We're not going to sugarcoat it, especially in Galway, however it is, the bay kind of just draws the rain and the wind in. But it is really, they're gorgeous campuses. So you have Trinity College Dublin, which is pretty much right in the city center of Dublin. It's the oldest university. Really just great programs. UCD is in the south side of Dublin, and Dublin City would be in the north side. They're both newer than Trinity, but all 3 of them really offer good programs that I think complement one another. So like Dublin City University would be very good for engineering and sciences. Robert talked more about this as well, but they all have really, really good programs that they specialize in. And then National University of Ireland Galway, or NUIG as we so fondly call it, is located, like I said, right outside the city. It's got this nice quadrangle building that unfortunately doesn't really host many of the classes. But if you're lucky, you may be able to go in at some point. They have some lovely rooms and buildings in there. And NUIG has got a really fantastic engineering program, one of the largest in Ireland, and also really great, like if you're interested in Irish language, Irish studies. It's a bilingual university. It's the only bilingual university in Ireland, technically. So they have a lot of Irish, there's an Irish language cafe, all that kind of stuff. So like all 4 universities really have specific strengths and weaknesses, but I think they really complement one another. And depending what you're interested in, one of them will fit your interests, yeah.
Great, thanks, Zoe. So we're going to talk a little bit about the academics, go in a bit more detail about the academics of the 4 universities. As Zoe said, they have their own strengths and weaknesses, and so it's important for all of us that you're matched with the university that best suits your academic pursuits while you're over here. So just before we get to that, just to touch on what the dates look like. So in general, the Irish universities start a little bit later than Notre Dame and finish around the same time in the fall. And in the spring, again, they start a little bit later in most cases and finish in mid-May generally. So these are the dates that we expect for the next academic year, just as a kind of heads up. But know that as the program approaches, we'll be in regular contact with you to go through the program calendar and let you guys know when you should be arriving and departing from Ireland. But this is just to give you guys a feel. So, start in September, finish just before Christmas, and then start after, obviously, the Christmas holiday and mid-May. It works out for the vast majority of our students. But it's just, I think, a good idea to just frame kind of where we are coming at from an academic calendar kind of perspective. So moving into the course of study at the universities on offer. So I'm going to talk a bit about the Dublin universities, and we'll start with Trinity College. As Zoe mentioned, it's the oldest university in Ireland, founded in 1592 by Queen Elizabeth. And like University College Dublin, UCD, which I'll talk about in a second, students from all majors are welcome to apply to Trinity. Trinity itself is known as a very strong liberal arts, so arts and letters, and pure sciences institution. So in general, we have students primarily from those two colleges study at Trinity. While most engineers would go to UCD, electrical engineers also should check out Trinity College as a place to study. The two caveats of Trinity College are there are no business courses offered. That being said, business majors more than welcome to apply. We've had business majors at Trinity in the past to do the core requirements or tackle a second major, and those things are all more than doable, but just know that Mendoza itself is not accepting classes back from Trinity College. And then theology courses, so people who are looking for a second theology while they're abroad, Trinity College is one option of places to go. University College Dublin, UCD, that's a university in the south of Dublin, founded by now St. John Henry Newman back in the 1850s. So now they have their own claim to fame there. UCD is really the Big Tent university. They can take basically students from any single major, whether it be engineering, science, liberal arts, business, you name it, they have it. There are two caveats. So there's no theology course available. So if you're looking to knock out that requirement for theology majors in themselves, there's no theology courses available there at UCD. And psychology courses are limited. So for psychology majors or neuroscience majors who are looking to do psychology, Trinity College is really the place where you should look. But other than that, regardless of your major, particularly engineering, pure sciences, arts and letters, math, anything you're thinking about, University College Dublin, UCD, is really a one-stop shop for anyone who's interested in studying abroad in Dublin. Our last Dublin university is Dublin City University, which is our youngest partnership. And that program is designed specifically for computer science or engineering or business technology or business analytics majors. So those majors in either the College of Science, the College of Engineering, or the College of Business are welcome to apply to Dublin City University. And it's a bit of a curated program. So the faculty members at Notre Dame in computer science and also in Mendoza would be really familiar with what's on offer. And we have a pretty solid relationship with Dublin City University. What's fantastic going into the next academic year is that DCU will be available both in the fall and the spring. So it had only been available in the spring, but going on from next year, we'll have 10 slots open at DCU for students to study as well. So if you're in one of those majors, computer science, computer engineering, business technology, business analytics, DCU, definitely give it a look. There are, in addition to major courses, we have a ton of second philosophy and second theology options. So you can knock out some core requirements as well while you're there. And I'll kick it over to Zoe for a look at NUIG.
Yeah, so like I said before, NUIG would be very strong for kind of arts and letters, as it would be called, so humanities. We had a few Celtic civilization, kind of Irish studies majors and English majors. They do have business courses as well. It wouldn't be sort of the main thing, but definitely the arts, Irish studies, really, really fantastic. The other branch that is really, really strong, like I said, is engineering, medicine, and they have a really prominent growing biomedical engineering program. So one of the really good things that we have at NUIG is you've opportunities to join up with a professor and do research during the semester. So it's primarily in cancer research. They're a leading institution in Ireland on breast cancer research. So we had 2 students last semester out of 16 that were able to do research pretty much one-on-one with a PhD student and with a professor, and really got a lot out of it. And then we're now offering limited biomedical engineering research as well. So that will be sort of fully developed soon, but we do have sort of the general course outline. So if you're interested in biomedical engineering or medicine and would be interested in doing research like this, definitely get in touch with me. My email's later on the slide, and I can kind of fill you in a bit more on that information. So yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, so we have a number of courses that are offered through the Gateway. So these are separate from your host institutions, and these are designed to do a few things. The first course I'm going to talk about, Introduction to Ireland, that's a course that all the students in Dublin, when they come take together at the same time. So it's a great chance for us to meet. We do dinner before class, and then Kevin Whelan, who's the director of the Dublin Gateway, teaches this course. The course counts as a core history or social science requirement, but you can see that's actually cross-listed in a bunch of different things, including sociology and anthropology. So, for example, if you're a pre-med student who wants to beef up your sociology courses, you can knock out one of those courses through this class. Similarly, history, the core requirements, they're all available there for you. And this course really is to give a cohesive overview of Irish history from about 1798 to present, really kind of ground an understanding of Ireland. And this is where those field trips come in. Those field trips are part of the class. And Kevin, in his own unique and wonderful way, really does link up a number of topics across Irish culture and society into this thread of Irish history. So that class meets on in the evenings during the week. And as I said, all the students in Dublin take it together. They go on the field trips together and all of that. So really it's kind of the unique part of the program that all of our study abroad students get to experience together. In addition to that class, through the Dublin Gateway, we have two other classes. The first one that I'm going to talk about is Beginning Irish 1, which is taught by Elaine Brehan, who's amazing. And so this is an optional Beginning Irish 1 class. So I think one thing that people often think about Ireland is that everyone speaks English, and that's just the lingua franca, and that's all there is to offer. But there is actually a native Irish language that has kind of been going through this kind of revival process. And so when you come to Ireland, you'll see all our street signs are dual language. So there'll be the Irish and the English. And so Elaine really tackles the Irish language from the basic building blocks. It's normally, this class is a 4-credit language course. Most students would take it as elective. And by far of the students who take this class, this is their favorite class that they have in Ireland. Elaine is just fantastic. She gets out and about experiencing the Irish language in and around Ireland. And you'd be surprised how well you can converse by the end of a semester. So this is definitely a unique opportunity for students who are thinking about studying abroad in Dublin. The last class that we have on offer through the Gateway is every semester we have a literature course for students. This is to knock out if you need that either literature or fine arts requirement, core requirement. And then again, if you are an English major or if you need a writing intensive class, for example, this class is the place to do it. Normally the class is taught by either Barry McRae or Declan Kyberd, both who are amazing professors from the Keogh Naughton Institute of Irish Studies. And so they try and tackle Irish literature from Joyce to Yeats to Beckett. They really do try and get a good look in at some modern Irish literature. So it's another just fantastic way to read about some of the landscapes that we go into across the semester and knock out some core requirements if that's what you need. And then Zoe, do you want to talk about Catherine's class?
Yep. So we've got a course as well in Galway. It's just the one course and it is mandatory, but it's wonderful. It's similar kind of to Kevin's in that we use the trips that we go on to kind of link into the class. Catherine is lovely. She works for the Keogh Naughton Institute as well, but here in Ireland, and she works out of the O'Connell House most of the time. She has a PhD in literature, so she's very well versed. And she as well kind of goes through literature, Irish literature, early literature up to modern literature, but looking at it through kind of a cultural and political lens. And I found the students really got a lot out of it, especially if you're medicine or engineering or, something that you might not be studying a lot of Irish literature, especially. I think it's a really nice way to connect and sort of fill in what you're doing in Galway or in Dublin or, in Ireland. So it just makes those trips that much more interesting. It's a once a week course and we usually go for a weekly dinner after. And as it says there, it fulfills the core literature fine arts requirement as well.
Yeah, thank you. And the one thing I should also add is for all of these classes and the reason that all of these professors are so engaged in the material, there's not a presumption that you would have encountered a lot of this stuff before, whether it be Irish history, Irish literature, the Irish language. All of these classes are meant to kind of meet you where you are in your understanding of Ireland and let's build it up. So whether you are an Irishphile and you really love Ireland and you know a lot about the history, or you're starting from ground zero and building your way up, These classes are really meant to kind of meet you where you are. They don't require a huge interest or huge knowledge of the background of either the literature or the history. It really is about taking you from zero to hero in terms of Ireland. And the classes are structured in a way that, it's not all about the lecture work. It's not all about, the writing. It really is about getting out in the countryside, out in the cities, and experiencing Ireland, hands-on environment. So don't let the Notre Dame courses, scare anyone away. They really are meant to be an enriching and enlivening part of the experience. So I touched on this earlier in the presentation, but just talking about what accommodation looks like at the 4 universities across the country, just so people have an idea. So they are dorm style, so you will be sharing some space with other students. At Galway, Dublin, Galway, UCD, and DCU. So these are all but Trinity. Everyone has their own bedroom and an ensuite bathroom. So you have your own bedroom, your own bathroom, and then you'll share a living space and a kitchen with between 3 to 5 other students. So you all have your own kind of place where you can close the door and kind of have some peace and quiet. But then again, you're not living alone in that sense. And a really special part about all these places, we'll get pictures of students who are cooking family dinner together, hang out together, playing games in their common space. And so that's a really important part of the experience. And you can choose when you set up your rooming assignments to either live with other Notre Dame students or to kind of chance your hand and maybe live with some Irish students or live with some other international students. So it's a great way to kind of push the boundaries of the Notre Dame bubble if that's what you're looking for out of the experience. At Trinity, there's a variety of different accommodation kind of setups. And that's just because the university is so much older, though the rooms are very nice. Again, everyone will have their own bedroom, but you could be sharing a bathroom between 2 or 3 different people. But again, you'll have kind of those large, spacious common areas, and you could have views like this out your front window, which I think is one we'd take every day. And this would be a pretty normal bedroom over at Trinity College, just to give you guys an idea of what you'd have. In addition to the rooms, there is a stipend associated with all study abroad programs, and the stipend is meant to defray some of the costs of living abroad, particularly the food. So most students would be cooking for themselves on a pretty regular basis. Zoe and I said that normally we do try and have dinners around the class, and as we would call them, family dinners here. And I think they're something very similar. Just get a chance to get all 50 to 70 students eating together in community. But as I said, a really special part, I think, of everyone's study abroad experience. Certainly, a piece that was very special for me was getting to cook with my friends and eating dinner together in our room. So that is a huge part of the experience. In terms of campus life.
Oh, sorry. Can I just add one thing there as well?
Yeah.
For the Galway students, we generally try to not actually put you with Notre Dame students, just because you're a small group on your own. So, and you do spend a good amount of time together during the week and on the weekends when we do trips. So, especially this past semester, I think we really could see the students really became friends with their housemates. So I think most were living with Irish students, but there were a few that had housemate. I think there was one that was from Sweden, one from Denmark. So they either could travel with them at certain points, but a really nice thing I found, especially when I was studying abroad in Ireland, was if you live with Irish housemates, they really want you to come home with them on the weekend and spend time out of the city if they're from the country or just somewhere else in Ireland, and they're really excited about home. So one of the really nice things is that if you ever had a weekend free and you didn't really want to travel, you could just go stay somewhere else in Ireland with a family, with an Irish family, which is a really nice way to kind of get to know the people and the land and stuff.
Thanks, Zoe. Yeah, that's a really great point. I mean, Irish people in general are so incredibly welcoming. And we really do try and encourage all of our students. And that's when I said in Dublin, you have more of an option. But, we really do encourage all of our students to try and get to know both Irish and other international students, and that's really what campus life is all about. So Zoe, do you want to talk a little bit about campus life?
Sure. So like all universities would have, similarly to American universities, would have sports teams, they'd have societies, clubs. They're a wide range of pretty much anything that you could think of. I know they've got like a Harry Potter club at NUIG, so like there's really everything. And it's a really, really good way to meet people. Like I said, I studied abroad in Galway. when I was in college, I didn't go to Notre Dame and I didn't have a program, so I literally went by myself. So this was a really good way for me to meet other people. I joined the Ultimate Frisbee team, which I played back home, and like they're still my best friends to this day, 7 years later. So it really is a great way to meet people. There are discounts you can get, so you can apply for a LEAP card, a student LEAP card, which you can use all over the country. I think it's a little better if you're in Dublin, you get a bit more out of it because you probably use the bus a bit more. Galway's quite small. But you can get discounts in restaurants, on campus, you can get some discounts, and just, all over the city. And then there are volunteer options, which I think we're going to talk a bit more about now, possibly. So we'll go into that in a little bit, but campus it's a very different kind of style than an American university. So you might find you have a bit more free time in Ireland compared to Notre Dame. But this really is a good time to socialize and find a club, find a society, kind of fill your time doing something, and make the most out of it.
Yeah, so as Zoe mentioned about service opportunities, so service opportunities are something that we try and make available to all of our students if they so choose to engage with them across the semester. And depending on our location, there are a number of different opportunities available to students. In Dublin, we have the Community-Based Learning Program, the CBL program, which is an optional part of Kevin's class. And so we have sites across the city in primary schools, in tutoring centers, in adult daycare centers, really anything you can think of, that really allows students to get stuck in with a community of people in Dublin that they wouldn't normally meet just from, a student experience in the city. And so it's a weekly commitment where you might spend time, tutoring students, in elementary school in math and English, or working with high school students who are actually migrants to Ireland, or even just, going and cheering up and spending time with people in an adult or elderly daycare center. And so those are all options that we have regularly. In addition, in Dublin, we have a partnership with Barrettstown, and they actually do like hospital work. And so students, particularly pre-meds, who are looking to get some time in at hospitals would volunteer through Barrettstown. In the past couple semesters, in Dublin, there's a group service opportunity every semester that's optional. In the past, we've actually Barrettstown has a camp, and we actually go and run a summer camp for children with chronic or severe childhood illnesses. And that's just incredible because it's a real way to get to kind of meet and spend time with some real Irish families. It's such a great weekend. And we're running a summer camp, we're riding horses, climbing rock walls, doing arts and crafts, all those amazing childhood experiences we get to kind of relive and put on for these kids who have really been through a lot in their lives. So that's just a look at Dublin. Zoe, do you want to talk quickly about Alive?
Yeah, sure. So Alive is a sort of online database that NUIG has, which is really great. So once you're a student here and you have your student number, you can register with Alive, and they've got tons of different volunteer opportunities. So you can kind of filter it out by what you're interested in. So like Robert was saying, they have some sort of medical volunteer opportunities or community opportunities, and you can find those in Alive. You can do something there. The hospital is right next to the university, so you could do something in the hospital, you could do something on campus, you could do something with kids, you could do something with the community in the city. So they have lots of different opportunities. And then we have a few on our own end that we've just formed connections with. So for example, there is the Galway Sailing Club, Galway Hooker Sailing Club. A hooker is a type of boat. And they are working, they've collected a few 100-year-old boats that they've been working on, and they take volunteers as well. We had one student do that this past year. So you can go down and kind of help them work on the boats or take the boats out on the water. So there's like Dublin, like there's lots to do, lots of volunteer opportunities, and it's just however much you want to get involved really. And then we do one kind of group service opportunity together, which is during the Thanksgiving weekend. So it would be out in Kylemore. And we do some volunteer work in Clifton and sort of the surrounding villages in Connemara. So just another nice way to kind of work together.
Thanks. So now we've thrown a lot of information at you, and so now is where the kind of the rubber hits the road, and where we kind of talk a little bit about how semester in Ireland might be possible for you, or is possible for you, because it is really possible for all Notre Dame students. And so kind of from here, you should talk to your undergraduate advisor or DUS and register your interest really with them about studying abroad in Ireland. All of them would be very familiar with our programs. As we've said, I think we've had a student from every major except architecture through the Dublin programs. And so, you know, there's no first time. Like we've seen it all, and we are all here to kind of support you for whatever you're looking for and give you advice as to, you know, what places you might be best suited at in terms of an Irish university. As you go through the application process, the dean and your department will also be required to approve your application, but that's not something that you have to seek out in advance. In addition to myself and Zoe, Sam Juarez, who I briefly mentioned earlier on the call, she is the program director for Ireland. And so she is, you know, first stop if you have any questions about studying abroad here and what a semester abroad might look like for you. But as always, feel free to reach to Zoe and I if you have any questions about courses, academic clarification, syllabi, all that kind of stuff. We have our connections with Irish universities. That's why they pay us the big bucks. And so we are always more than happy to answer any of your questions that you might have. Even if it is just, you know, I am studying, you know, X, Y, and Z, is a semester abroad possible? I mean, the answer is yes, but Zoe and I are always happy to walk through, as well as Sam, to walk through what a semester abroad might look like. So the application itself is due on November 1st. And that will be up through the system, through the Study Abroad website. And we'll have links attached at the end of this presentation. Do take some time to think about what the most suitable Ireland program is for you. You know, in Dublin, all of our Dublin students study abroad together, right? It's not a segmented experience. It's similarly in Galway. We're all here to make this experience, including you as the students, you know, as incredible as it can be. So don't think that any university is, you know, better or worse than another. We really do experience Ireland all together, no matter where you're studying. The application components, you need to write a personal statement. Remember your DUS and dean approval. So particularly your DUS, you should have that conversation with them as soon as you can. Your rector will need to give a good old affirmation that you are, you know, a good candidate to study abroad. And then for Trinity only, this is really important. There's an academic reference required. And this reference just needs to be a letter, preferably from a professor that's had you from an academic setting, just to talk very briefly about your academic ability. This is never a problem for students, and I should say, you know, the academics are never a problem for students whatsoever, but these are just boxes that we have to tick for the universities over here for them to accept you. So these are the application components, as I said, due November 1st, and we are so excited to see all of our applications. It's always a hectic time for Sam in particular, but we love all of the interest in Ireland. We love reading everyone's personal statements. And we are so excited to see what everyone has to bring to Ireland. We just had a quick question before we move on to kind of a short look at some of the other opportunities we have available. Can we do research at UCD with professors? Yes, absolutely. So while there isn't an accredited research program like the one in Galway, in Dublin, there actually is a research module at UCD that students have taken in the past, and that actually give you a kind of setup and then launch you into a research project for the semester. So in Dublin, anything is possible. In Galway, anything is possible as well. In Dublin, though, anything around research is possible. We've had students do all kinds of things, either taking that research module, which can come back for credit, or setting up their own independent projects. And I am more than happy, along with Sam, to advise who you should reach out to and how you can go about setting up this project. In the fall, for example, we had a number of students at Trinity who are also doing research in psychology and biochemistry. So, you know, really anything is possible when it comes to research. It's just the structured kind of piece isn't the same as is in Galway. And I would say that across the two cities, there's normally a facsimile for everything that we do. It just looks a little bit different. But great question. So yes, research is a possibility over at UCD.
I'm going to take a second
as I said,
to read some of the questions that we've gotten.
Yeah, cool.
Let's see. We got the research. So someone had asked, can I apply for 2 Ireland programs? The answer is yes. When you apply, you are able to apply for a maximum of 2 programs. So you will complete 2 different applications within the system, and then you will get an email after they have been submitted to essentially rank your preference. So if you apply to TCD and Galway, for example, we will ask you which one you would prefer as your first preference versus your second preference. And we highly encourage that as well. The prompt for the personal statement, I can put it in the chat, but it is essentially asking you to address your academic, personal, professional goals. This is really an opportunity for you to address why going to a particular program makes the most sense for you. Study Abroad has recently launched a Study Abroad Compass initiative, and the first part of this larger initiative is a Study Abroad 101 Sakai course. It's a course, but it really takes 30 minutes to complete. One part of this course is tips for how to write the best personal statement. So I'm going to put that link in the chat. I highly encourage you to check it out because we address some of the common do's and don'ts of statements. After years and years of us reading them, we've been able to identify some of the consistent patterns of things that students do that are really not that great for your statement, and some of the really stellar statements that we've read. So please check that out. Yes, the applications are due November 1st for next fall as well as spring. So really November 1st is kind of the big day for all of our programs for the following year. Let's see. Can you take classes listed at the university there but not listed on the ND list of courses? Yes. So the document that you all will find on the Study Abroad website, I tell students this literally all the time. It's really helpful because it gives you a sense of what students have taken in the past, but you are not bound to that. When you arrive on campus on site, you essentially go through the course approval process, and you're welcome to use that document to find courses that perhaps have already been taken, but we also really encourage you to find the classes that you want to take. And then Robert, Zoe, and I will work with the faculty here to get them approved to count for whatever you need them to count for. So you're really not limited to that at all, but it is helpful, again, just to give you a sense of what's been taken. Let me think. Okay, so I'm going to paste the prompt for the personal statement, and then I'll also post the link to the Study Abroad Compass initiative. You'll see that there is a Study Abroad advising course specifically that, again, will address personal statement, do's and don'ts, and just general tips and guidance. Let's see. Okay, if there are any questions, feel free to keep sending them to me, either via the chat. This afternoon from 12 to 1, I'm going to be joined by the program director for the London, UK region. So feel free to hop on at noon. We can answer your questions more specifically about the application, answer questions about finances, the selection process. Maybe you think of another question about these programs later on. But again, check out the Study Abroad Week schedule for that Zoom link, where it'll be myself and Brigida Richmond, the UK program director.
And feel free, guys, anytime, even if it's not today, if you have the question comes up at a different time, we're always all more than happy to answer any questions you might have. So I know our emails are in the presentation. Sam's email will also be around as well. So feel free to send on emails. I know we've been going for a while, so we're gonna just nip through the rest of the presentation, and then yeah, keep sending in your questions. We'll tackle those as soon as we finish. And without further ado, we're just going to talk through some of our shorter term programs. These are summer, majority summer programs that we have on offer here in Ireland, and on a similar kind of time frame. So applications for these are also due at the end of this term. So just kind of keep these all in mind. The first one that I'm going to talk about is our Dublin Summer Program, which is a 6-week program from May until July, so next summer. These are taught all through the Gateway. So you're with us for 6 weeks, taking classes in O'Connell House, and going on field trips almost every single day. So it really is a great way to get stuck in Ireland for a short bit of time if a semester abroad is not a possibility for you. This coming summer, we'll have on offer 2 courses, and students take both, so 6 credits in total. So if you need core requirements in either history or social science and theology, Dublin Summer Program is definitely one to check out. And I should say, not just core requirements, but if you're looking for actual courses, either in history or theology, both of these classes will count toward those majors as well. And as I said, we're out on field trips almost every single day. We spend a week in Connemara Abbey and going around Connemara, which is a really fantastic time. And then we spend normally another week out on the West Coast somewhere on the ocean, doing cliff walks, all the amazing sites of the Wild Atlantic Way out west. So we really do try and pack a whole lot into summer. And, you know, we do have a reputation for rain, but Dublin is the driest city in Ireland. So we do like to think that you'll get a fair amount of sun for 6 weeks during the summer. So definitely check that one out. For our engineers, we have an engineering summer program that's run through the College of Engineering, similar time frame to the DSP, the Dublin Summer Program, May to June. And we have 2 technical elective requirements on offer. This coming summer, we have Kevin Boyer and Kerry Myerson College of Engineering to teach. So for engineers, we're looking for a shorter study abroad experience, another one to check out. In addition to that cultural enrichment that we do in DSP, we also do industry visits. We'll go to factories. We'll take a look at some distillation plants. There's so many opportunities to kind of get stuck in with engineering here in Ireland. And so we try and incorporate those industrial visits into the program. The last 2 for Dublin, there's also a Mendoza summer program. So this is a 3-week, 3-credit program. And we have either managerial economics offered through the Department of Finance, or business analytics courses in sports analytics and also data management. So 2 tracks, both 3 credits. And again, same kind of cultural experience, but we, again, include some local businesses. We have, of course, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, all based here in Dublin. And funnily enough, for the sports analytics class, we'll actually be working with local sports teams. So that will be kind of a huge highlight of that 3-week program in July of next year. The last Dublin summer program that I want to talk about very briefly is the Irish Internship Program. And so this is an 8 to 10 week program from about May until August. And we offer about 50 stipended internships. So there's a kind of block sum that's provided to cover food and also the work that you do while you're here. And we take care of flights and accommodation for you. And so we have these internships across the entire sector of the Irish economy. So whether it is law firms or newspapers, nonprofits, cultural institutions, government agencies, the IDA, which is the Foreign Direct Investment kind of organization here in Dublin, we have it all for every major. We have some kind of offering for you. So definitely check those out. The internships for next summer are actually available on Handshake, which is the new job platform through Notre Dame. So if you're interested in our internship program, definitely check out Handshake and the Dublin Global Gateway page. And those internships actually cover all of Ireland. They're not just Dublin based, but they'll all of our opportunities will be listed through that Handshake page. And then Zoe, do you want to talk quickly about your 2 Connemara programs?
Yeah. So as you can see, there is some sun sometimes. I took that photo at the beginning of August, so there is some sun, don't worry. So yeah, we have 2 kind of main student-driven programs for the summer at Kylemore. We've got a longer creative writing, sort of a residency, I suppose, for you as a student. So it's a 4-week program. You do get credit for it, so it's 3 credits, and it's a really great opportunity, to just sort of be somewhere else outside the States for 4 weeks for the summer. But B, you get a lot of workshopping if you're interested in writing, if you're an English major, literature major. This is a really great opportunity. Kylemore is gorgeous if you've seen photos. It really lends itself to writing and sort of creative arts. This photo that I have there is actually taken during a writing retreat that we held at the beginning of the month. So it's a great place to just kind of walk around, write. We are going to have a professor come from Notre Dame to help run that. So you'll get seminar work, you'll get workshops, you'll get classes, master classes. We'll bring Irish writers in. It's a really great opportunity. Ireland as a country is extremely literary and sort of music and arts driven. So this is a really nice opportunity if you're interested in that. I will have the dates relatively soon. I think it's most likely going to be in July of next year. And then the other is Inside Track. If you didn't want to come for as long of a time, it's an 8-day sort of immersion into Irish culture. Again, we don't have the dates quite nailed down, and we're looking at getting it credit approved, so it could be credited as well. We're not really sure at the moment. But it's just a really nice 8-day time to be here. You get to experience Irish culture, economy, politics. It's run by the Keoghan Naughton Institute, so you'll have different sort of archaeological lectures or excursions. We have a lovely archaeologist named Mick Gibbons that we work with, who's very, very funny, and you will learn so much about everything from him. So both opportunities are open for next summer as of now. So if you're interested in those, you can get in touch with me. And likewise for the Dublin programs with Robert, they're all online as well. So yeah.
Well, great. So guys, that's all from us. I think we have maybe a few more questions that have come in, but we hope that you are, thank you so much for all coming out. It's been so fantastic to see so many students interested in studying in Ireland. To keep in touch with us, we have our social media here. Particularly all 3 of the Instagram accounts will be really active this week, and just a great resource for information for all of you. As I said, all 3 of us are always available to answer any questions you might have, and we're always really happy to answer any questions you have. We love students who are excited to study abroad in Ireland. It's what makes our job so valuable. So do reach out with any questions you might have. And Sam, have there any more questions come in since we took questions last?
I think we're all set. So thank you all for submitting the questions. I've included so many links in the chat, so feel free to check them out. I've included the prompt. I've included the Study Abroad Compass link. So please let us know if you have any questions. I would follow us on social media. Robert's doing a giveaway, so check that out. But again, thank you so much for joining us. You can join me, as I mentioned earlier, today at 12, where I can give you more details about the application process, answer questions about finances, and anything else that you all would like to know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hopefully see you all next year.
Sorry, hi, I have a question. I had my class just ended like 2 minutes ago, so I kind of missed this entire thing. Is there another info session, or is there like a place where I can find the information for this?
Yeah, so we have a much smaller condensed version that could be found on the website right now. It's like a pre-recorded, but this one is actually being recorded right now. So we'll have to download it and then cut it up a bit, and then we'll post it online.
Okay, sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, just shoot us an email, and we're more than happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No worries. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Great. Let me stop.